Developing stories. But first, let's now get into a conversation this morning. We talk about gender-based violence once again. In studio, we have Fatuma Mohammed. She's just seated next to me, and she is a survivor. She'll be telling us her experience, whether it's physical or even mental. While Silas David Obuhatsa, rather, is the national chair for the Parents Association. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, and you know, we don't have up-to-date data. Let me say that because the actual data that we have on gender-based violence, whether it's against men, women, or children, is dated back in 2014. Does this speak anything as far as taking serious violence that is meted on people, whether mental or physical, is concerned as a country? Because we've seen WHO releasing annual data on the global prevalence. David.
Yeah. First of all, let me thank you for inviting me to come and discuss this hot debate this morning.
Yeah.
If you don't have data, I would say that there's something that's lacking.
Yeah.
Because data will give us the report on the ground. And if you talk about the data that was collected in 2014,
yeah.
How many years are those from 2014 up to today? The period in between is a kind of a lengthy period. And therefore, that kind of data cannot support the systems in place now to show exactly what is happening on the ground. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the cases, they say, are increasing, and they're increasing because of the many that are reported in different, let's say, police stations, cases of defilement for children, women, and even the cases of divorce that we have, and teen pregnancies as well. So the consequences really define where we are as a country as far as gender-based violence is concerned, and we'll be getting delving deeper into this discussion. But Fatuma, let's talk about your experience, okay? When you say that you've survived violence, what form of violence have you gone through as a woman?
Me as a woman, I've gone through physical violence and sexual from a partner and maybe from a friend or someone close to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, before I speak out, it took me a time, and I was mentally tortured since not everyone will believe. For example, when it happens with a partner, it's so hard for me to speak out. Yeah. Since I have that fear that no one will believe me, since this is my partner, we're in a relationship, so no one will believe. And in some scenario, like I come from a slum, a ghetto. So like me, I'm a teen mother, I have a kid. So for survival, I do manual works. For example, I come wash for people. Men take advantage of my situation. Someone will force himself or herself on her. Like, for example, me, I experienced, like, I went to do a manual work. Then the man forced me. Then I got pregnant. He told me he's married, not interested to have a baby with me. The only thing he can do, give me money, go do abortion, and never bother him again. Since I have that fear, I can't speak to my parents. Since first, they won't believe. Second, I have that fear, and it's so hard, like a young girl, to experience that, since you can't go to a police station. You have to have the evidence. Since you fear, you go back home, rush, take a shower. You just need to get rid of the evidence. So it's hard for you to go to report to the police station.
You just want to forget about the
forget about the scenario, but still it will haunt you. Mentally, you can't eat. If you remember, you have that fear, you can't engage with any man. Yeah. Even in maths, when you board a matatu, you have that fear that any man can pass near you. And if you remember, you just sit somewhere and ask yourself so many questions. Why is this happening to me? Why you? Why? And in ghetto, people don't speak out. Since that person have money, if you go to report, he can bribe those authority, and that story die like that. So you don't get justice.
Okay, you mentioned physical and then also emotional and sexual violence from a partner and a friend. We'll get back to you and we'll talk more especially on the physical violence. But David, there are different forms of violence, especially when it comes from a partner. How do you even define violence sexual violence from a partner, for example. And so most people will suffer in silence. Let's talk about whether enough is being done, for example, to support the victims and to empower them so that we have more people speaking about this. I know there's cultural attachments to some of these conversations, but how best can women and girls and even men be empowered, especially men, because men cannot talk about this. Most of them will not talk about this. So what form of empowerment is needed in the country?
Thank you. I've listened to my sister here, to my daughter, let me say like that.
Yeah.
And I've been touched of what happened. First of all, I want to say that there are different types of violence that produced to us, especially the females. And there are many causes. Why do we have this? One of the causes of gender-based violence is poverty. Like now, from what she's saying here, if she was a school girl and she had no fees, she had nothing, completely no support, she will end up going to look for manual work, and these things will come about. There is gender violence that comes because of conflict and wars that really affects women, especially like the refugees. Yeah. They find themselves in camps, and most of these are women, with young girls and young boys at that level. Then there's what is talking about the sexual violence. That's very common, and especially it comes from domestic violence in homes. I've been witnessing these things. Even this morning I witnessed one, just from my house, and I was seeing a neighbor battering the wife. And I had nothing to do. Personally, I had nothing to do. So one is that education is very important. That there should be awareness on gender-based violence all the way from village levels to national levels. We should put structures in place that would take care of this, and the structures put in place must be meaningful. Like, for example, when we say that we put laws in place, the legislation of the laws on gender violence or whatever issues, when the laws are put in place, are these laws working? Like, for example, are the police officers reinforcing what is reported? Do they have, when she has given a report at the police station, how is this report treated? Do they look at it as because she's a female, and then they just cover the report and say the man will pay and run away with that kind of crime? Do they take that kind of interest in this? If the rape has happened, for example, where a school child is raped, what follows next? What laws are there? We have the children's rights, whatever, protection laws. Are they in place? Are they working? We have so many NGOs working on issues of gender-based violence in the country. How are these NGOs supported? Like for us, we are a parents association. How is the government supporting the parents association to educate parents on issues of gender-based violence among the parents themselves and their own children? So we should have those structures in place. There should be action plans put in place that can favor and can take strict measures on these issues to end them once and for all. Yeah. Yes.
All right. And Fatima, when you talk about both physical abuse and sexual abuse, let's begin with the physical abuse. Was it abuse from your partner, your parents, your teachers? Tell us more.
My partner. We dated for some months, then he's so violent. He can just wake up in the morning, started throwing things up and down, beating you without reason. So you can't start questioning him.
Why?
He's high-tempered.
Okay.
Yeah, the moment you start asking questions, the more he beats you. Then neighbors can come in and help. You are locked inside the house, you are beaten, you can't go outside and talk to anyone. So you just take medication, you can't talk to your parents. Since first you have moved out from your parents' house, you stay in with your partner. Since maybe you left home not in good terms with your parents.
So you are not in good terms with your parents?
No, at that time, I had issue with my mom. Okay. We are not that close. Okay. So whatever I experienced, I never talked to her. Since I got a platform, someone to talk to, then I open up. But I never talked to my parents up to date. She just knew I was okay. I would get home, laugh, do everything. But inside, I was hurted.
At what age did you get married or move in with your partner?
At 19.
At 19?
Yeah, but that relationship didn't last for long. Since I told myself, enough is enough. Yeah. Whatever comes, I just need to go back to my parents, explain to my dad or my mom whatever happened. Then I went back home. I left that relationship.
So right now you're back home?
Yeah, right now
you're staying
I'm
with your
back home,
parents?
but my parents are not here, so I just live with my brother, my younger brother.
Why is it that, David, when someone is experiencing, especially physical violence, like you saying that in the morning you experienced one, the neighbors are usually unbothered, most of them, not all of them. I've seen situations and scenarios where neighbors intervene, but most of the time they'll hear a woman or even a man screaming in the house and they'll not come in handy and help the person being beaten, for example. Why is this so?
Yeah, one, like what she has explained here.
And I hope the case in the morning was settled.
Yes.
Yeah.
One is this fear that you'll be called upon as a witness. For example, if the matter ends up in court, you will call as a witness, and you know, some people fear that they may go and give evidence. The evidence is not proven, as they are saying, and the case turns back on them. That's one. There's fear. Two, there's lack of education, as I told you.
Yeah.
If I see my neighbor, like what I saw in the morning today, I knew what to do. I'll even have called the police. But you see, you call the police, they will not even come.
Yeah.
They will not respond. At the end of the day, the person you are trying to separate from the fight, whatever is happening, will not understand you. Will put the case on you sometimes. You have found that you go try to stop a case, if you are a man, and the other gentleman who is now battling the wife will say, this man takes my wife. That's why he came in. So you see, the men will keep off because of that. So there's that fear of being victimized to some extent, either by the two of them, who are if they're fighting, either the woman or the man will victimize you. Two, is believe that it's none of your business. It's none of your business.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's none of my business. Lack of ignorance, I can say that.
Yeah, and most of the time, even the victims are not even aware that they are going through violence. So please, you will tell us, how do you know that this is violence? We've heard and even read stories where women and men are beaten, and that's okay. And even in some cultures, they'll say that if a man doesn't beat a woman, then they don't love them, for example. There are all those cultural beliefs when it comes to violence against women and men. But you went through the physical violence, but you also mentioned that you also went through sexual violence from the same partner?
No, not the same partner.
And because you mentioned a partner and a friend, maybe you can expound on that. What exactly happened? Yeah.
What exactly happened? I knew this friend. He was a neighbor.
Yeah.
Then offered me a job to clean his house. Then I went there, like someone looking for something to, you can just provide for your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since me, I'm just a Form 4 graduate, I don't have anything. So I just do manual jobs to sustain my kid and myself. Since my parents are not that wealthy, and since I have siblings, plus my kid, I have to look after them.
You're the firstborn?
No, I have a sister.
Okay.
Then I'm secondborn. Yeah. So I went to his house, started cleaning. Then all of a sudden, he grabbed me, put me on the bed, removed my clothes, forced himself on me. Then he left. Told me, like, you have the money, you can take care of yourself then. Leave my house. Since I went there willingly, I have the fear to explain what really happened. So
you had gone to do some work in his house?
Yeah, some work, some cleaning, clothes, wash the house, then it was to pay me. Then after that, we disagreed. So
on the payment?
No, we didn't disagree with the payment.
Okay.
Since he forced himself on me, so he just, after finishing, he just rushed out, then left some money on the table. Told me through a text message, Kiswahili, ukimaliza funga mlango uende. So first I sat down, cried, then I finished, left. Since I needed the money more urgent, I just finished the work, took the money, then left. After some time, I realized I was pregnant. First, I can't tell my parents, since whatever happened, I didn't speak to anyone. About him, I didn't talk to him. Then it reached some time, I started feeling sick. Yeah, I texted him and told him, like, I think I'm pregnant. So he just told me, wafikiria vile utafanya. Then, since I have a small kid, at that time my son was 2 years, and I didn't have it. I've just left high school. I don't have anything. Yeah. So after some time, he sent some money. Then he told me, get rid of the baby. Me, I'm not ready to be a father to that baby. I have a wife and a kid. You just get rid of the pregnancy. Then don't bother me with the phone anymore. Then since I had that fear, I can't speak to my mom. Since me and my mom were never that close, I just took the money, God did the abortion. Then it drained me like a month. Before getting out of the house, it took me time. In the house, I just behaved normally. But my mom was feeling something fishy. So I had to talk to a cousin. I have a cousin of mine, I'm so close to him. So I told him what really happened, and he told me, Mbono kusema mapema. I told him, like, I had that fear of people will judge me. Not everyone will believe me. Then he told me, like, ishafanyika, so we can't do anything. You just keep quiet. We'll see what we can do.
All right. You tell us what this entire experience made you feel like a person, not even just a woman, but like a person. One, being forced into the act, and then again being told that, no, I don't want to be part of this baby, and taking that action, yeah? What would you say of her experience? You know, we've had conversations on abortion and all that, but when you listen to what, for example, she's saying, she already has a baby, yeah, and then she's been forced into the act, she's pregnant from 8, she's still a child. What did you tell as a parent of her experience?
I think it's something that's very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
The kind of life she went through. First of all, I want to say that parents must sit with their children. We know some of our children end up in these problems because we as parents, we don't sit with them. We don't listen to our children. Sometimes they speak, we keep off. We don't give them time to explain what they are going through. We don't even have time to eat with them at home. We don't even bother to know where they go and where they come from and whom they stay with, whom they share with. And because of that, our children end up suffering like the way she suffered. One is that in her experience, being a child at that age, it was so painful to her. In her heart, it pains. She looks at it as if somebody has robbed her, probably her life completely. You know, it's an experience that a child don't expect to happen. Two, she's somebody undergoing problems economically. She has no finances. She wants to support herself, maybe to get money to go to school. She has no fees, she has nothing. She has explained that she didn't even have a parent. Of course, you see now, being parentless, you see a child of that nature, you never know the causes why she didn't have a parent. She could be an orphan maybe, and you don't know. And here my man taking that advantage over her because she's desperate in life. I take that kind of action to frustrate her in life. So it's very painful. And therefore, we say that parents must learn to listen to their children. We are saying that parents have a role to play. There's parenting. When we talk about parenting, some parents don't understand what parenting is. They think that parenting is just giving a child food on the table and walking away. Or just telling the child, take your bag and go to school. Come back in the evening and sleep and take a shower. That's parenting. Parenting means a lot to a child. It means where a parent actually has to listen to the child, sit, take himself or herself in that step of a child. Assume that she's a child and what she went through. Look at that and see now, if your child at present is going through that kind of life, how is the child feeling? And you as a parent, you're just watching. Okay? So parents need to have education. That's one thing, that there should be education awareness on gender-based violence, because it affects both children and adults. And two, when you talk about gender-based violence, people only look at women. They forget that even men also go through this.
Yeah.
What do you think would have been the reason to why this man did this to my girl here? Maybe the way this man was living in his life, he was also undergoing stress, emotional stress, maybe from the family that he was having, because he had a wife and children. Maybe that woman that he was living, that woman was not submissive to the husband. And therefore it forces him to take this kind of action to revenge on somebody who is very innocent. And what to a child. When this matter goes to a police station, the report has been given. That's what I was saying, that you'll find that, again, the report given to the police station is altered, it's changed. Because this is a child. She won't protect herself. And because I'm a man, I have money, I take over the whole thing. So everything's just thrown away. And therefore, this ends up causing a lot of harm to women, especially young children or youth, who cannot protect and prevent themselves. And therefore, that's why we are saying that there should be proper action plan in place on how gender-based violence can be handled in this country and all over the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fatuma, you already had a child you had mentioned. Were you scared that, for example, if you had told your parents what had happened, or even your relatives, they would assume that it was willingly, you did it willingly? And maybe if you can take us back about your child that you had while you were still a teen, what had happened, and what was the reception, for example, from your relatives? Yeah.
First, when I got pregnant,
was it from a boyfriend?
Yeah.
First? Okay.
Yeah. Since we are not in good terms, I realized I was pregnant after we broken up.
Okay.
So my dad is ever busy. He comes home late, already we are asleep. My mom, we don't talk a lot since he takes care of other children. So the only thing I talked to my cousin Reno from home. Then through a friend, my mom talked to my dad. Then I came back home. For 8 good months, we didn't talk with my dad. I was staying in his roof, but we are not talking. Just come, ask my mom if I have eaten, if I have not eaten, then he just left. At that time, I was in Form 4, so I had to step down, take care of my baby. Then after a year, since my parents were not that able to provide for my school fees, through an organization, helped by a friend, then I went back to school, did my Form 4. Then I had to hustle since I was not able to go back to or join any university or college. So I had to just hustle to take care of my kid since I'm a single mom and young one. So through an organization, I talked to someone, then they offered me a platform, an organization called Hope for Slum Adolescent Initiative. They offer me that platform to go back to school and do any TVET course of my wish, any. Then I can, after I finish, I can support myself and my kid. Since I have to provide, now my baby is at school. But he's not living with me, he's living with my mom. Since I don't have job, I get support from my parents, that little one. So the little money I get, I support my kid in school.
All right, and what course did you do?
Hair, beauty and dressing.
Okay, that's what you did.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get back to you. Let's just hold on. How the domestic violence cases are addressed, or gender-based violence cases are addressed in the country. You had earlier mentioned that most of the people are afraid of being witnesses, or they don't want to be part of this. But what do you think now can be done, apart from parents now talking to their children? There's also lack of empowerment even on the part of the parents. They are also concerned about other issues. The high cost of living, they're running up and down looking for school fees. So what really can be done on a national level so that girls are empowered, women are empowered, and men are empowered to ensure that they speak out when they go through or when they encounter such cases?
Yes, I said first of all, one thing is that before we go to that level, let's go back to the parents first of all. That I said that parents have got a responsibility. Like now you hear what she says. She could not talk to the mom for all that time. What was the reason that she could not talk to the mother? And the father was the other side. What was the reason that the father would not want to intervene and know what happened to her? So we find that, one, I see that there's that ignorance of knowledge. People lack knowledge. Mainly parents, because parents have their children. And a parent who does not understand his or her child, a parent whose child comes at home and reports a case, and then the parent becomes violent to the child. There's some parents who say that you are stupid, you are confused, you don't know what you're telling us. Go to school and learn, go to where and learn. Maybe in a school, a teacher is violating the child's rights. The child is trying to report, but the mother refuses and says, no, you are lying about this teacher. The teacher is born again, I know him. How do you know his salvation and you're a parent at home? The child is the one who is suffering this. So we say that parents need to have education. When you ask about the way the cases are handled, first of all the way, what she has explained, she has been offended. she has no alternative. She goes and takes a shower and goes home. She goes to the police station to get an OB. She's told now, what's the evidence? So the evidence is already destroyed. So the victims have to have knowledge on how to handle these cases once they're what? They're affected. They must know that when if you are raped, if it's a rape case, don't get a shower first. Get yourself to the police station, report the matter, get to the hospital for examination, have the evidence kept. Then this can go to the court, and then the court of law can follow the matter to know. Two, at national level, there should be confidence for women. Women should be educated highly to understand that violence is not the best way. And you find that in most of the families, and I will talk about maybe stress, or I want to talk about ignorance, as I'm saying, you find that a very small thing turns up into a mountain. Maybe just a pain, like this pain I'm having here. A child wants a pain, but the father does not want to give money. The mother wants the child to have a pain. Then they begin exchanging. Father and mother, they end up fighting. At the end of the day, the mama ends up losing a hand. You have been seeing this happen. When somebody has lost a hand and he goes to a court of law, what evidence does the judge require to know that this person suffered? And it's a woman. The judge is still asking, go and bring evidence, go and bring witnesses. Who saw this man chopping off your hand? Why are they doing that? Then that encourages that. The judge should just take action quickly because the lady has evidence, the hand has gone, the man is there. The man should get arrested. You find cases where the victims of circumstances that are causing this, especially the men, they will bribe. They will even bribe the police and run away. They will bribe even their own villagers. A parent has had a child victimized, affected by gender-based violence. You find them sitting as a home family member, home team saying, get money and close this chapter here. Yeah. The case does not go outside. They want to sort the matters on family basis, where they feel that the victim's name should not be, will get spoiled. Why do you hide a criminal in your family who is destroying the lives of children? Women should be free to report this. Some women are they're so fearful. They have been offended, but they keep quiet. They want to say that we have been offended. When they are asked, did he do it? The same man will come and call the lady behind her again the curtains. They share money, and the woman says, no, I think it was just I was cheating, I was lying. But already it has happened. So they must be open. We are saying that poverty is a problem in this country. National level. When you ask the government to support the girl child to go to school, the girl child should get all the support. Like in Central Pokot, in Turkana, in Samburu, you find that the girl child suffers a lot because when they're at home, there are subjected to things like FGM. This is gender-based violence. If they were in school, in a place that is well protected, nobody will touch these girls. They will learn and go to far levels. But since they're at home and their parents are poor, the fathers feel the girls must be married. And so after circumcision, they're what? They're married at all ages. Right. And then they end up now leaving school. They have suffered at home. Now they have lost education. They have nothing. They have no knowledge on this the issue of gender-based violence. So they live as people in darkness. You see, in their own country.
All right. And, yes. When you talk about gender-based violence, it's not a topic that is new in the country, globally, yes. And there are so many campaigns in this regard. We want to take a break. And Fatuma, let me just say sorry for what you had to go through. When we return, you will just tell us what this made you feel as a girl, as a person living in this country, and what do you expect for girls like you? What kind of help, what do you think the government should do to protect girls like you and even boys that are at a risk of going through what you went through? Thank you once again for opening up to us. All right, we'll take a break right here on the News Center. Our focus of discussion is on the gender-based violence. In studio, we have Fatuma Mohammed, who is a victim of both physical and sexual abuse, while Silas Obuhatsa is the National Chair for Parents Association. Stay with us.